We survived.
We arrived in Pier 21 in Halifax on the night of June the 21st.
And we became the first combat unit to land back in Halifax, land back in Canada.
In column of sixes, we marched down through the city of Halifax. I'd been given the key to the city.
And so that's how we landed in Halifax and were given a rousing reception. But at that time, we were not part of the Canadian Army, and they didn't know what to do with us. And so it worked out well for us.
Back to the ship again, 4 troop trains, 1 to Montreal, 1 to Toronto, 2 to the west. And the fellows were back home again, and at their own depots, and back with their families. And that was really the highlight of my military career, was the fact that I was able to swing that deal to get those guys home before anybody else, and as a complete battalion. Period. End of service.
One Canberra was honored by Canada in September 2000 when a monument was erected in their name at Ex-Coelis Mountain in Alberta. The 4 peaks, each representing the major battles in which the battalion fought. The men of the 1st Canadian Parachute Battalion had barely arrived back in Canada when Japan surrendered in August 1945. On September 30th, their airborne battle skills no longer required, 1 Canberra officially disbanded. In its short but glorious existence, the battalion had set a standard of excellence, never failing to complete an assigned mission, never surrendering or losing an objective once it was taken. Among their battle honors, the first Canadians to land on D-Day, the only Canadians in the Battle of the Bulge. They advanced deeper into Germany than any other Canadian unit. Churchill called them those formidable Canadians. Montgomery asked, what manner of men are these who wear the maroon beret? Every man, he said, an emperor. Comparisons were drawn appropriately with Shakespeare's Few, the Band of Brothers. Young Canadian men pathfinding a new military skill, drawn together, facing death in voluntary service. Some made the ultimate sacrifice. Those who came home were changed forever by membership in the most elite of Canadian combat units, 1 Canberra.
They had all been taught to function on their own, to function as small groups, to function as sections and platoons and as companies.
And your greatest fear, and my greatest fear, was not to let anyone down.
They worked extremely well together, and I always said that once we dropped in on Operation Varsity, the battalion had become purely a professional unit.
I think a lot of people have more courage than what they think they have.
In my opinion, there was none better.
From Normandy right through the Baltic. It was a buddy system. You knew everybody quite well. You were close to them.
It's like a family. A whole variety of people, all looking to be trained to do the same thing.
And that's what sustained us all through the combat, you might say.
When you see that the chips are down and what these young soldiers could do.
Some of the worst circumstances that human beings could possibly face.
And when they're put in situations, I think they just do what's right.
So we had a tremendous number of very, very good men.
The Canadian ingenuity is something to be marveled at.
We had an excellent battalion.
As far as we were concerned, but we're very, very quick to tell anybody that would listen that we were just better than anybody else. And I was willing to put cold, hard cash on that statement any day in the week. They were incredibly good soldiers.
It's a good life. I have no complaints.
there comes a time when you have to fight. And the Second World War was a good, just war. You should fight for peace, for sure, struggle for peace. All of us, everywhere, all the time. But the time may come when you have to fight. And when you do, you should do it with resolve.
This documentary is dedicated to the memory of the battalion members who made the ultimate sacrifice for our freedom. Lest we forget. In honor of the Canadian men who so valiantly fought on D-Day, June 6, 1944, and in remembrance of those who made the ultimate sacrifice, the Juno Beach Memorial is being erected at Juno Beach in Normandy. Lend your support for this most worthy memorial. Call 1-877-828-JUNO or log on to junobeach.org for more information.